This is Ruby G. I'm doing this video because I wanted to talk about why I hate cancer. At a very young age, I got with the guy I am married to today. I was 16 years old when I met my husband. And when I met my husband, he was a single father of three, and I was a single mother of two. Um, when we first started dating, like it was like love at first sight. Like it was just crazy. It was just love at first sight. Like I fell over heels for this guy. Anyways, um so when we met each other, I didn't know, like I knew what I was getting myself into. I just didn't know how hard it was going to be. Um First month we met each other, I had took care of his two boys, and his other boy had cancer. So his son that have cancer, he was about 3 years old when I stepped into his life. The first month me and my husband was dating at the time, um, I stood with his kids for that whole month. Like it was crazy. Like we just started dating, and he didn't have nobody to take care of his kids. So I told him I'll take care of them while he goes to Philadelphia for his son's surgery, because his son needed surgery for his cancer. He had kidney cancer. So, anyways, so he had to go to Philly for his son. He needed surgery for his cancer that was in his kidney. Now, this whole time he's in Philly with his son, I'm with his other two kids, plus my kids. Now, mind you, they was all in diapers. It was hard. And I was only, at the time, I was 16. Yes, I was a teen mom. I had two kids. But whatever, it is what it is. I took care of my babies. Anyways, so, so we've been together. We was together for years. And let's skip all these years. So, he had like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. His wish was to go to Disney World. We went to Disney World. He enjoyed himself. We enjoyed ourselves all together as a family. So let's rewind. So a year before he passed away, that's when we went to Disney World. So we had found out a year after Disney World that his cancer spread it to his liver. So, we was worried. And, he had to get, we took him to the hospital. He had to get radiation for his liver cancer. So they did the radiation for 6 weeks. That was tough because, obviously hair loss, and he was getting real sick, and he was only 7 years old. 6 years old, 7 years old. So, he was getting radiation for that. So then we went for another ultrasound, and, they said that it went, the radiation worked. There was no more of the cancer, which we was very relieved, and we was happy. Now, a couple months after that, we had went food shopping, and we had left him, our son with cancer, we had left him to a family member. And while we go food shopping, family member calls us up and said, we had to rush him to the emergency room because he was crying in pain. So we went to the ER, we wanted to know what was wrong with him. Went to the ER. When we got there, they said that there was nothing wrong. He just needs to use the bathroom. He was like, backed up. He needs to use the bathroom. So they sent us home with like this laxative for him because he had to use the bathroom. So we was like, okay, because he was crying in stomach pain, and they said they took the ultrasound. All they saw was that he was backed up. Cool. We go home. We're giving him this medicine for, to relax it, so he can use the bathroom because he was backed up, as they said. So we giving it to him. About a week passed, not working, still crying in pain, screaming, it hurts, I don't know. So we decided to call his doctor. So we called his doctor. His doctor wanted to see him, so we went to his doctor to see him, and the doctor took the ultrasound, and that's when his doctor had said, we need to talk to you. So they bring us to the side, and they told us, this is hard, but they was like, it's not that it's backed up, is his cancer came back and it's growing to his lungs. And we was like, okay, it's growing to his lungs. What's next? They said, well, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Now, that's the most hardest thing as a parent to hear. Like I didn't give birth to him, but I've been taking care of him since he was 3. And at this time, he's 7 years old. That was my love. And they says, there's nothing we can do about it. And, me and his dad, we looked up everywhere, even other hospitals, crying for help. But everybody said there was no cure. And they said that he only had maybe like 2 weeks to live. So we had to take him home knowing that we was taking him home his last days. And, that's all we could think, so we wanted to cherish it. So when we took him home, it was heartbreaking. They put him on medication for the pain, for the pain can, ease out, but he won't feel it. They asked our son, do you want to go to the hospital or do you want to go home? Like, where do you feel comfortable? He tells the doctor, if I'm going to die, I want to die at home if I can see my family. 7 years old is heartbreaking. So this is hard for me to talk about it. But, sometimes you got to take things off your chest. So, he lived, like he lived for a good, 2 months. Like they kept, like hospice came over and they kept saying, well, he's going, he's dying. He has a week, he has a couple days. But he was strong. He was fighting it. He fought it for 2 months. And he was getting really, really skinny. Really, really skinny. Like he was like skin and bones. He maybe weighed about 10 pounds. And he had like a bulge. Like a real big bulge in his stomach. And, he was dying, And the hardest thing to see is your child or the person you love and you raising die in front of you. So, it was just our last days with him. We cherished it as much as we can. Family came over. His brothers, his sisters got to see him. His brothers and sister got to see him and stuff and get to spend time with him. Is the most hardest thing to go through. And if anybody understands, they know how hard it is. And the day that he passed, the nurses called us over. We was both in bed. The nurses walked us up and said, guys, I need you guys to come out here. It's important. So when we came out of the room, and I entered the room first, he looked at me and said, Mommy. And he took his last breath and he was gone. But just to know that, he said bye to me was the most specialest thing you can ever hear, As much as I didn't want him to go, like he said bye. And it was hard, But I just wanted to share this video to tell you that it's hard. I hate cancer. And if anybody's going through it, I understand how it is. And, we just wishing and hoping that we can find a cure. My son didn't have that chance. He didn't have that chance to have a cure. He didn't, they didn't have nothing to cure him. He lost his life at 7 years old. So that's my story.